Thank you, Alex. Yes, so I'm going to show you exactly how you can utilize the native extensions inside of Airtable and send the information over to make.com to generate a newsletter. And the web clipper, the extension that we're going to use, is going to take a screenshot of the home page, deliver everything over to make.com. We use some LLM magic and create a newsletter that we can keep in a bank, and then we just curate the newsletter and send out to our mailing list. Okay, so we're inside of Airtable, and what we're going to do is we'll start by building off a new base. We're going to call this newsletter, this one here. So let's remove this field. We'll call this scrapes, and what we want to do is start naming the field. So let's rename this one as ID. What we'll do is actually delete these red entries here. So right click, delete. And we'll change this name to edit field. We're going to call it an auto number, just so we give everything an ID. Makes everything much easier to trace and track. And what we want then is we will delete these fields and start fresh. So what we're going to do is maybe we'll take a attachment field and we'll call this home page, and we'll call it home page image. Okay, create the field. We're also going to take the title, a single line of text, and we will also take a website. Now that will be a URL, and we're going to take one more, which will actually be the content output. So call this content, and we're going to make this long line of text, and we'll enable rich text formatting. All good. And what I want to do is now I'm going to make the fields extra tall. Next we will open up the extensions tab on the right corner here. So I'm just going to zoom in so you can see top right corner, extensions. And what we're going to do is add an extension. Now it's going to be a native extension by Airtable, but what you can do is search for what's called Web Clipper. And now I really love this tool. It's called Web Clipper. I'm going to add it to our base, and now we're going to set everything up. It's fairly intuitive and it's going to be pretty automatic. So what we want to do is add to the scrapes table, which we've renamed, add the extension. So we'll just add to extension. Okay, and what we want to do is take the title from the page title, the website from the page URL, and then the image we'll leave that as is, so no default. Everything looks good. So what we want to do is now let's maybe head over to a website. So I'm going to head over to makeitnocode.com, and I'm going to click here. What we'll need to do is head over to our extensions. So I already have the extension, but I'm going to show you exactly how you get extensions. If we wanted to find this, we could go to the Chrome Web Store. So it's chromewebstore.google.com, and if you type in Web Clipper, click search, and maybe we need to put in Airtable just to narrow down our search field. And there we are, we have the Airtable Web Clipper. So you would add the extension and go through this process of verifying everything. Very simple, very easy. And now what we can do is once we're in Make It No Code or your desired website, we'll click on the extensions and manage extensions. What you can do is just pin the Airtable extension. Okay, so what I want to do is if I click on Airtable and add records to scrapes, see I've already got a few here, but this is the most recent one. If you make sure you name your extension. So what we can do is Web Clipper newsletter. Now let's go back to extensions, and then hopefully if we just refresh Web Clipper news. So what I'm going to do is it's automatically filled in the title of the website. It's automatically taken our URL, and if you see here we've got I'm just going to zoom in for you. You can see that we've got the option here to plus. So what I'm going to do is take a screenshot. Now I can add a screenshot, I can add a page shot, or I can choose a particular image. So what I want to do is I will just do the page here and add record. So it's adding the record. We can see that we've got it's been added. If I head back to our base, you can see now. I'll just delete this entry. What we've got is we've got a auto name of auto ID of 2. We have the picture of the home page. So if you click, we can see here we've also got the title of the page and a URL. So what we can do is now set up an automation to send the information over to make.com. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now set up an internal automation inside of Airtable. So if you see here, we've got automations, and we're going to set up our first automation, and we're going to call it, let's rename, we'll rename it to Web Clipper to make.com. And there's loads of different ways that we can trigger this automation. So what I'm probably going to do is add a trigger from here, and we can say when a record is created, or maybe what we'll do is actually when a record matches a condition. So we'll select from the table of scrapes, and the condition can be when website is not empty, and I think that's enough actually. Just that one field is enough. So we can see we've got, if we select test, we have the option to run this. Next, what we want to do is fire off a webhook to make.com. So I'm going to say run a script, and what I will do is I'm going to paste in some information from one of our previous builds, which I'll reference in the top corner here, of setting up automations and trigger fields inside of Airtable to make.com. So I'll just show you where this is coming from. So I have a bank, this is actually the build, so I have automations pre-built, and I just use this all the time to get the information. So I'm going to copy the code, enlarge this, I'm going to click on edit code, I'm going to select all, copy, and close this down, and I will paste this in here. Now all I need to do is add the variable of record ID. So this will come from when the criteria is met, and I will select the record base there. All we need to do is update our record ID from here. So let's head into make.com. Let's add a Airtable module, and let's get the watch responses instant ACID, so triggers when a response is submitted. And we're going to create a new webhook. We'll call it the newsletter Web Clipper. Now all I need to do is really just copy the last section of the webhook, but I'll copy it all, and we can replace the webhook inside here. So I will delete everything up to the question mark, Control V, and what we can do is we're just going to run this module now, just to test the automation, test run. Okay, should have gone. We will go over to make.com, and you can see it's brought everything in. So now what we need to do is get the rest of the information. All we have at the moment is from the record, when the condition was met, all we have is the record ID. Let's get the rest of the information. So we will get a record, we'll select from our base. If you haven't made the connections before, you're going to have to verify everything, but I have a connection here for all bases, and if I scroll down to the very bottom, it should, you can see the newsletter build here. Now I select the table, which was scrapes. The record ID is going to come from the previous module. It's the only information I have there. And I'm going to click OK. You can run it again one more time. We'll do another test automation. Select the record, click run, head over to our automation, and you can see that it's come through. So next up is going to be, okay, so now what we want to do is generate an article. So the best model for this is going to be Perplexity, because it has the connection to the internet. So if I type in Perplexity here, and what we're going to do is create a chat completion. Ask it to be a system, so we'll make a system prompt, and we're going to ask it to write a newsletter. So with a system prompt, you define how the AI model will work. So write a newsletter for Make It No Code on content only, no introductions. We will create the articles for our mailing list. The reason I'm doing this is I don't want it to start with "Dear user, here's our newsletter, thank you." Next, we're going to then pass in the content. So we will give the role of user, and the content will be, so please write a newsletter on the following. And what we're going to do is simply pass in from the following URLs. From the following URL. So, and the URL we're going to pass through is the actual website that we've just scraped. So if I click here, pass in that variable there. So the final thing we would want to do is we don't want to just leave this inside of our make.com scenario. We're going to put it back into our Airtable. So what we'll do is we'll update a record, and we'll select the base again, so scroll down, and we will then add it to scrapes. The record ID will come from the very first module, and what we're going to do is pass in the content here. So this is just a simple version of the build. If you want, you can get really granular with your prompt to give an idea of what your customer base is, what your tone is. I'm just giving a fast example for the YouTube build, but you can get really granular and explain like perhaps what your business offerings are, link back to products. I'm just trying to show you the power of the Web Clipper tool. So I will click Save. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take a screenshot of the make.com website. So to do this, it's not just a screenshot. I'm going to select our extension that we built earlier. I'm going to right click here to load this slow today. I'm going to add a screenshot of the page. So we'll click OK, add record. I'm going to head over to our base now, and you should see everything come through. There we are. So I'll just delete this previous record. Now what we're going to do is send everything over to make.com scenario. So we'll close this page down now, return to our automation. So I'm going to click Run Once, and what we will do is head back. We're going to test the automation that we built out earlier, and select the record, click Run, and then hopefully we're going to get a nice little newsletter article that we can add to our mailing list to email subscribers to our newsletter, keep them informed on AI and all no code. So there we are, we can see that the automation's run. Let's click back to our Airtable base and let's see what it's come up with. So we have automate your workflows with make.com, efficient and no-code solutions. Streamline your workflow automations. There we are. It's pretty good. I like that. So what we could do is we can actually, if we switch on this automation, so everything is running live. I'm also going to switch on this automation here and make sure this is live. And I think I'll do one more. Okay, what we're going to do is we'll head over to Leonardo AI, and we're going to do exactly the same. Now all of our automations are switched on. If I go into my Web Clipper, I'm going to select the Web Clipper there. I'm just going to take a screenshot, click Add Record. Now everything should go over to our Airtable base. Okay, it should pick up the automation. The automation switched on as well. No, it's already written it. There we are. So that came in. Let's just expand this. So this came in. Revision history came in 22 seconds ago. So fully automated. This is set up and running, always in the background. You see an article you like, you see a website you like, open up your Web Clipper extension, and then you'll see it just generates the articles for you. So you can build a bank of these and then curate them, put them into a newsletter. It doesn't have to be a newsletter. I've just used newsletter as an example. We're doing blogs all the time, but newsletter is still a powerful tool. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this build. But yeah, have a look in the extensions dashboard. So many useful tools. There's not only Airtable tools, but there's all the extensions. So we can scroll through. You've got Typeform, you've got download multiple attachments, Mirror, there's base schema, icons, you've got analysts, you've got Loom, Miniforms, Survey Sparrow, CMS Bridge, data extraction, dedupe, many tools. So yeah, scroll through, have a look. I'd be curious to see what other people are doing with extensions, so please let us know in the comments. But yeah, I'll hand you back to Alex and see you on the next video.